So it dawned on me that I should probably introduce myself. I just started making videos and never really said anything else. So, hello, my name is Sean. I am almost 40 and I collect things, mostly toys and things that most people would probably consider children's stuff. I do collect a lot of physical media, which, is relatively normal, but most of the things I personally like to collect for my physical media are children's stuff, like would be considered children's stuff. Nickelodeon and some Disney, Pokemon, Power Rangers, Cartoon Network, stuff like that. And I kind of always just figured that it's just kind of what I liked, and it was whatever, didn't really think much of it. And then about 2 years ago, I went and I got diagnosed, and it turns out that I'm autistic, uh, ADHD, and a few other things. But for the most part, autistic and ADHD. So a lot of the stuff kind of started falling into place and kind of making more sense. Um, so I first kind of struggled with that, kind of identity crisis, immediate type of situation. Um, you know, because I always kind of struggled like, well, that's not really normal to want to collect, toys, you know, in your 20s and 30s. Um, like I mentioned before, I used to have a whole lot of Funko Pops. Um, I used to, still do have Pokemon cards. um, so I was always kind of, even, into my early 20s, I would collect, keep collecting toys, Pokemon cards, and Funko Pops and stuff like that. And for the most part, my friends and family were just like, sure, cool, you do you. But I always felt kind of weird and didn't really know, like, why. Um, so when I got the diagnosis, I was like, and the more research I did and the more stuff I kind of understood about it, the more it kind of made sense. And, you know, just kind of decided, just keep doing you, Um, on the outside does look kind of strange, but makes me happy. And I'm kind of seeing that there's way more people out there that are similar than, than kind of it first appears. So it's a bit more comforting. So if you find yourself in the same boat, comment, subscribe, and maybe share your story below. And if you have any questions or anything you're wondering about or want to know or whatever, I can keep making videos. Like I said, it's an ongoing journey for me. It's only been a couple of years since I've found out kind of the reason of everything. Um, and I could kind of go over, you know, how that was, you know, first discovered, like why I got told I should get tested and, kind of not only like identity crisis, but like what I kind of did about it. Because kind of part of it, to be honest, it felt, it's strange to say, but like it felt safer to kind of like revert back to like a, you know, teenage self, I guess you could say, kind of like to run back and rebuild type of situation. Um, which I've always kind of internally struggled with that, but um, you know, kind of knowing why helped, and knowing that it was okay, that definitely helped. And so, like I said, still ongoing, still doing a lot of figuring out and a lot of self discovery and Um, it's a lot of realizing that most of my life was masking, and kind of had to take that off and figure out who I was as a person and what I actually liked and what actually made me happy, not just kind of, not that I was necessarily a follower, but I definitely looked towards others to kind of see what I should or shouldn't be doing, I guess you could say, but not in like a I want to be like you way, like a follower, more like I have no idea way, which kind of made more sense because I never felt like I need to follow anybody. I just felt like I needed direction, I guess. Um, which I think we all kind of need directions in life. Don't come with a instruction book, but um, I think it's a little bit different for people on the spectrum. But yeah, I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I'm gonna keep collecting and uh, keep more or less acting like a kid until forever. I guess. Why not? I only get one ride. Might as well enjoy it, right? If you have any questions or you know want me to make a video on something different, you know, particular you know part of it, let me know below. And till next one, see ya.